Am I
All
introducing?
right.
You introducing? Who's introducing?
You
Me
introduce this
introducing?
time.
Okay.
Take it. Have fun.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Hearing Things with Julie and Brad. Today is going to be a more technical episode, so that's my jam. So last week you had Julie talking and me just sitting there, and now we're going to have the opposite. So we want to talk today about closed captions versus open
For a
captions.
change, I'll be sitting here quietly.
Okay, well, we'll see how long it lasts.
We're going to do all the talking.
We'll see how long it lasts. Everybody set
I'm
your
going to
timer.
try.
So as you're watching, set your timer and see how long Julie can last. Ready?
I got it.
Go. So we want to talk about closed captions and open captions. And so you're probably hearing about closed captions more than open captions. And so the difference is whether you can turn them on or off. So right now, you're probably watching this through Facebook. And we have the captions down there. We wanted to make sure that they were on no matter what, which means that the ones in the video, in the Zoom recording right now, are open captions. I know YouTube has the auto caption setting. You can turn those on and off, and so those are actually closed captions. And so to get a little technical, I did a little research, and I found out that there are two standards from the Consumer Electronics Association that the FCC, as part of the ADA, lots of acronyms, requires any kind of broadcast channels. So you have CEA 608 and CEA 708. And the difference is just the transmission. So the 608 is for the analog channel, the analog broadcasts. And it's actually on line 21. It's actually embedded in the video. And it's on line 21, and that's where the decoder, actually, the cable box, will read it and display the captions. The 708 is for the digital transmissions, and that's actually transmitted alongside the video and the audio as an MPG2. So I put that all together when I was researching this. So you have the 2 is text, and then if you have MP3, you have audio, and then MP4 is the video. And so I was just kind of putting that stuff together. It's news to me. That's why I love doing this research, because it's fun. It's little geeky things here and there. And so that's what the closed captions are transmitted. And so with the streaming, it's a little different. But that was the only thing that I researched was the broadcast over the airwaves. But this stuff too it's the same thing. So this is an MP2 file that's in the video that you're seeing now. So I will say that the analog ones. So back in 2008, we had to get new TV boxes because they were no longer broadcasting analog. So the 608 really isn't around anymore. It is around because technology isn't changed everywhere at the same time. So you still do see some of those. And the other big difference is customizable. And so the 608, you couldn't do anything. What you see is what you got. But now if you go into the settings on your TV, you can change the font size, the font color, the font text, the background, the translucence of the background. So I do this, which kind of brings me into my next point, is how annoying they can be during sporting events. So I change the background color to be more translucent so I can kind of see through it. Mm-hmm. And so when they're talking about whatever stat, or they're showing the stats for whoever's on the ice or on the field or whatever, I can kind of see behind it. But the placement is so bad. And like the mistakes that you have is... Yeah. I get it because it's voice recognition, because not all of the captions you see are transcribed live. I actually, a couple of years ago, I visited WGBH in Boston, and the Media Access Group is the ones who will caption live events. And so I saw them closed captioning The Price is Right. It was really interesting, and they have like a stenographer machine, and it was kind of cool. But not all, with voice recognition being so popular, that's kind of where they're moving towards. And that's what we're using here in Zoom, is just voice recognition. We can't hire a cart interpreter, which is what they call the person who comes in to create captions for programs in events that they don't have money, and we don't. So another thing, I was doing some research, is songs in captions. So this was really annoying. So they have to buy the performance rights for a song to use in a TV show or movie, but that doesn't include the captions. So they have to purchase the lyrics if they want to caption the lyrics. In certain movies,
oh my God,
it's integral to the movie to hear the lyrics. but I
Right.
don't hear the lyrics. Music on TV shows and movies, because of the spoken words and the background noise and the music
Right.
of itself, I just can't make out many of the
No, me
lyrics on a
neither.
show. And so they
Is
have to
that why?
purchase it
See, of
twice.
course, I can't stay quiet. I'm sorry.
You did
Whatever
good.
minute we're at now,
Go,
whoever
go,
won,
go.
my fault. Is that why sometimes on shows, like you'll know there's music playing, but it'll say something like, happy violin music or something random?
That's the mood music. So that's kind of like that's a
So that's
different thing.
different.
So it won't have lyrics. That would be more like if you see like "Dream On" by Aerosmith playing, and they just say
Okay,
that, but they don't actually show the lyrics
got it.
because they didn't purchase the lyrics.
Fascinating.
It's also when I was talking to the guys at the Media Access Group in
Yeah,
WGBH. Martin Scorsese, the director, he
sure.
created a documentary on the blues that traced blues back to field hollers and plantations to,
Oh,
I think,
awesome.
not today because it's 20 years old, but
Right.
they had captioned the VHSs. But when they converted it to DVD, the requirements that they have to caption don't come into play. And so I was only able to find the DVDs, and I couldn't watch the documentary because I couldn't hear it and it wasn't captioned. And they didn't have to caption it because it's a different media. And they're only required to caption the first time. So it's kind of annoying.
This is all new to me. I'm so
Oh, yeah.
happy you took the time to research and share all this. I
Yeah.
didn't realize
Yeah.
the depth of the struggle. Why sometimes I can understand shows with captions, and other times I'm completely shut out of the same experience a
Yep.
typical peer would have.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, I'll stop trying to keep
No,
getting
that's
sassy.
fine. That's the bulk of what I wanted. There's more to it. I could get into some more
Wow.
specifics, but I don't think that I think could bore most of our audience. So I don't
But
want to
I
do
think it's
that.
really amazing. But I think it's a
Yeah.
great point for people to understand
Hmm.
that our lives are not accommodated to the level that they really should be
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
us to access everything that people with typical hearing can. And this is just one small bit of it. And I didn't know the reasoning behind some of it. That was really interesting, Brad. Thank you.
It's getting a lot better. I remember when streaming first started
Right.
on Netflix. Netflix didn't
Hmm.
caption their streaming, so like I couldn't use the streaming. I had a DVD plan until probably a lot longer than most people
Right.
because I couldn't use the streaming until they captioned it. Movie
Yeah.
theaters are getting better. So I went to see with my brother and Venus. I went to see Deadpool and Wolverine. And I asked for the caption, and I asked for that little caption thing, and I'll post a picture in the group because I
Oh,
took a
cool.
picture
Yeah,
of it so
that'd
you
be
can kind of
great.
see. But it sits in your cup holder, and then you have a little screen that sits in front of you. It's
Hmm.
not perfect because you have to kind of like look up, and you kind of have to place it up and down. And I was actually interested because there was a preview for the new Aliens movie, and that was captioned.
Hmm.
But whatever came on next was not captioned. So
God, I
like not
wonder
all
why.
previews are captioned. And I was
Interesting.
watching Lackawanna Blues the other day, and that was captioned, but the making
Cool.
of featurette afterwards was not captioned. And so it's funny to see what our accommodations are deemed worthy of. And apparently, the
Exactly.
main feature, and I mean, I don't want to complain too much because it is a step up, especially growing up. I mean, Julie,
Right.
you're a little older than I am, so you must have had
Oh,
so many
gosh.
problems.
So
Um,
many issues
yeah, so like,
with children's programming in particular, with
oh
puppets
yeah,
and cartoons, and it was really a challenge. Probably why I read as much as I do,
yeah,
because it was just a safer, more accessible form of entertainment
yeah,
for me, because I
yeah.
was shut out of a lot,
It's
for
too
sure.
bad. I mean, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess you have to prioritize because it costs money. It's so I haven't done it in a while because my job has shifted a little bit, but I used to do
Hmm.
tech tutorials on YouTube, and so I'd keep it to
Hmm.
like 5 minutes, and I would caption it. So I've done captioning. I've done captioning for YouTube
Hmm.
videos before, and you have to correct the punctuation, spelling, and all that kind of stuff because YouTube, even up like 10 years ago, would automatically
Hmm.
caption the videos, but it's never completely accurate. And
Right.
so you'd have to line up when I was speaking, I would have to line up the captions
Hmm.
at that minute marker. And I think the average is like for every minute of video time, it takes an hour to caption because it's just such a tedious process. And I'm sure like professionals can do it
Wow.
a lot quicker.
Sure.
And the better tools you have, the better it is. But I was using the native YouTube captioner, which is still around, and it's
Hmm.
still something if you're making content you should look into. But it's so time consuming, which is why I will apologize to our viewers because we're just using the auto generated caption because it would take it would take 8 hours, 10
Right.
hours to caption it. I
Right.
don't have the time, and so I apologize if they're not up to par for some people, and please make that comment. It's valid. I think that the more, especially if you're watching on Facebook, the more data they can scrape from their site, the better that it'll be. So please let us know if it is not up to par for you, and we'll do some research. I can't promise anything, but please, we want to hear the good and the bad.
Absolutely, for sure. For sure. That's a really good point, Brad. Thank you. I didn't know all of that. That was interesting. I learned a lot. And I think, to your point that you don't want to complain too much, things are getting better. It is sad to me on another level as someone with a hearing loss that we've accepted it for this long as the standard is, that's okay.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see that through the work of the HLA, other advocacy groups, the ADA, starting to recognize there's a big gap of accessibility that needs to be closed for those of us with hearing loss. And I'm happy to see that momentum is picking up with each year that's gone by, because we have really accepted far less than what we're entitled to. But that's another show, so I'm not going to rant. If I can rant, don't give me the floor. So, tell me your book choice for this week.
All right, my book choice is I've decided to get a little younger. So I read this very recently. It's I Am Quiet. It's a kid's book, and it's a kid's book on introversion. I wish I had this. So there we go. So I Am Quiet, a story for the introvert in all of us. And like anything, it's a spectrum, right? So like I know some introverts that have no problem like having something to do every night in the week. That's not me. And so I read that book I think last year, and it brought me to tears because it's such a sweet story of acceptance. And it's not something that I had growing up. And so I hope if anyone watching who has children, please pick up a copy of the book, because maybe that kid who's quiet, there's nothing wrong with them. Maybe they're just in their head. And as long as it doesn't detract from their everyday life, there's no reason that that's a bad thing.
I'm going to grab that from my classroom. I've never seen that before.
I think it's new.
Oh, I'm going to grab a copy of it.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, that's exciting.
What do you got?
Oh, good. Okay, so I went totally the other way. Crazy the other way. I don't have a hard copy. I'm in Maine, unfortunately. My books are in Massachusetts. But it's a book called American Oz by Michael Sean Comerford. It was wild. It was like a Jack Kerouac-inspired kind of vein, where this man, it's nonfiction, spent close to a year about traveling with traveling carnivals and circuses across the United States, and really pulling back the curtain on, those traveling fiesta shows that set up in high school parking lots, kind of what that life is like, and who are these people, and who works for the circus and travels with the circus, and how did this happen? And it's such a fascinating look behind the scenes at something that I have, since I was very small, I've always wanted to do. I've always been fascinated with the circus and carnivals, and since I was a kid, if I could have jumped the rails and ran away and joined the circus, I think I probably would have. And I just enjoyed this so much. It was just amazing to see a very different demographic and a different occupation than anything I've ever experienced in my life, either as someone who's in the working world or people that are in my life and in my family, my friends. It was amazing. I highly recommend it if you can get your hands on a copy. It really gives you a different slant on like the Tilter world being set up in a parking lot. Like, it really gives you a look at those folks that are responsible and what their motives are. It's a fascinating book. I loved it. I watched it again. It was really good.
I'll have to pick it up. Sounds good.
Yeah, it was cool. So I highly recommend that for everybody. Yeah. So that's it for today. I think that's it, right? Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think so. Comment, always comment. Let us know what you want, what you think, what you want to see. Anything, and as I said earlier, please don't be afraid to criticize. I think that Julie and I are both made of sterner stuff. We'll be able to handle the criticism, and I grow. I learn from my mistakes, and that's usually I learn better from making a mistake, because it hits you, and I don't take anything personally, right? Because no one's perfect, so we're gonna make mistakes. So please don't hesitate to criticize.
All the feedback, we welcome all of it, unless it's about my hair, which
no hair. Her
taking
hair
on a
is
mind of its own tonight. So leave that out of the dialogue, and we'll be fine. All right, so thank you, everybody. Good to see all of you, and we'll be back.
See you next
week.
Take care.